The following is an interview with my friend and best-selling author, Amber Shah. Yeah, we had fun. Enjoy.
Yeah, my freshman semesters at Riddle.
Yes,
Dude,
yes. And I got in there.
regular. Yeah, what's that?
I got in there.
That
I would have that was my second school that I wanted. That's the school I wanted to
oh,
go to. If they gave me more scholarship money, I would have gone there. If they gave me $1,000 more scholarship money, I would have
you would
gone
have
there.
been there?
Daniel
Daytona?
Webster, yeah, Daniel Webster and Embry Riddle both uh cost different, but like the
Right.
percentage or whatever, like Daniel Webster
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me
yeah.
like a percentage wise more
Sure.
financial aid, even though the dollar amount was the same. So it was going to cost me 20,000 a year to go to either one of those schools, which which
Yeah.
it did. But anyways,
Right, dude.
I feel like I
It's
should have, whatever,
expensive.
who cares?
I
Anyways,
actually just finished paying off some of my loans from that period of my life. Yeah. It just closed it. Feels good. But
I paid all
yeah.
mine off because my mom ended up, I took probably, I think, and I did an episode on my YouTube channel about this. I think I took like 7,000 personally for 2 years to go to Daniel Webster.
Nice.
And then in loans, but then my mom had to take out like 20,000 or like something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
So I like pinky promised her Korean style that I would pay it back. And I paid all that off like 10 years ago in one lump sum.
Nice, dude.
She wasn't
Woo.
paying
Oh,
any
hell
of it.
yeah.
And I was
Wow.
surprised that she had not paid a single cent of that in like also like 10 years. And I was like, wow, I didn't know
Holy yeah.
how'd you get away with that? I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Anyways, you
This
can't
guy.
come over, you can't get nothing, right? You can't get blood from a
Right.
rock. So
That's
there's no
right.
point in going after her. She's not going to give you anything. She's not going to give you
I
anything anyway.
I feel you. Yeah. So,
So, so
what was it
good
like?
times.
Yeah. What was it like? You're self-published author. What was the process like?
Fun story. I just started writing a new book this morning. It's going to be a cookbook. So,
Oh, nice, dude.
but
Like any specific cuisine or
just stuff that I like to eat. So it's going to be
nice?
called
Yeah.
Nutritious Dishes by Amberlicious. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
Korean and Italian, and then
I
I've
like
traveled
that.
all over
That's
or
right.
whatever. So I'm gonna like, yeah, I just thought of it. I mean, I've been thinking about it, but I just literally so I love AI, right? Like so AI is
Oh,
fun.
yes. Yeah.
Um, just a couple of days ago, I started training ChatGPT. There's now an Amber Shah GPT because I put my book into it.
Nice. Yeah,
And did
yeah,
you know
yeah.
that you could just go on YouTube and you can go into your YouTube channel episodes and then you can get the transcript from each one of your episodes. So then
And and
you
feed it
feed
in
it
there.
to, yeah. And I say, hey, ChatGPT, make me a GPT. Here's my book that I wrote. Here's,
That's
and then
brilliant.
here's like this is what I sound like, right? So then, but also I did use so I used chat on AI instead of ChatGPT
Okay.
until just recently. So now I switched over to ChatGPT and just bought the pro version like a week ago. But
Nice.
so I'm gonna use that and see if it's as good as chat on AI, which I used to help me write my book. So while I was in school
Yeah.
recently and I got my bachelor's in 2022. So then I
Yeah.
took like all these like classes there and one of them was some sort of a class. But anyways, they were like, "Oh, the best way to write a story that people will want to read is uh the hero's journey, which is discussed by Joe Campbell, which I learned about like 20 years ago also.
Okay.
But anyways, so Joe Campbell writes about the hero's journey and he ties that into religion. So go read about that. That's a whole
Okay.
conversation. But anyways, so I used the hero's journey to outline how to write my
Is
book,
is
save that
is that
information.
the
That's the way to write any kind of story. So then it's an
right where
outline.
you have the
So then
your
the whole book
climax,
follows.
your that's the
Yeah.
stages of the yeah, yeah. I have vague memories of that. I took a journalism class before, so that was
I know. So
discussed
it was
in
I
writing.
forget what the class was even. It was like I forget what the class was, but it was like I thought it was going to be a stupid class, but then there
Yeah,
was
yeah.
some TED talk that some lady did. So it's funny because I heard about the hero's journey a long time ago, which is kind of like a
Right,
way that I
right.
got away from Christianity. So anyways, so the hero's journey inspired me to not be Christian. But anyways,
That's interesting.
so yeah, that's a whole thing. But anyways, the hero's journey is a great way to tell a story. So I used ChatGPT and I'm like, help me write like an outline to write a book. And it was like, here's an outline, whatever. And I was like, it's going to be about this, but it's going to be about yoga and it's going to be about sales and it's
Yeah.
going to be about how I wanted to be a yoga teacher. I wanted to have a studio and I just wanted to like live this peaceful life, whatever. But then I started working for a studio and it was
Yeah.
so salesy. And I was like,
Yeah. Right.
and then I was like, but also I had, I was in the six-figure sales range
Okay.
for commissions that I was making when I was in ad sales. And that's when I quit my job and decided to
Oh
travel
yeah.
to Malaysia for 2 months. And I was like, oh, I wanted to take,
Nice.
so I was actually working in ad sales and I was at this magazine. And one of the directors, who was like essentially my boss level
Yeah.
on a different horizontal group. So this
Mhm.
guy came back from an African safari and he was like away for like a month. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know we could do
Nice.
that.
Yeah. Why not? Right. Yeah. Take a little
Right?
sabbatical.
Yeah. So then it just was a turning point. And I was just like, wait a minute. I was like, I mean, I got money in the
Yeah.
bank. Why am
It's
I
a
not
thing.
doing that? Why am I
Yeah.
still fucking here? This is stupid.
Right.
So I
I think.
went and booked the trip online, me and my boyfriend, who I married, whatever. So then, but back when we were just dating, and I booked
Yeah.
this trip for 2 months, and I had to go to work and tell them, hey, it's September. I just booked a trip for 2 months to leave in February. So I gave them
Yeah.
5 months notice. But each month my sales figures
Sure.
went down.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then in
Well,
December,
because
they
you're
ended up
kind of checked out, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
then I was
Yeah.
like, because I was like, oh, they were like, oh, well, we're gonna have to fire. They told me in September, we're gonna have to fire you, and then we'll
Just gonna
rehire
have
you
to
when you
let.
come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Cool, whatever. So then I was like, because I was there for like a year and a half. So honestly, that's why I was surprised that they gave me that
Yeah.
kind of response, was because I'd been there for so long. Like for me, a
Right.
year and a half was a fucking long ass time. So
Yeah.
I was there for a year and a half and I was doing well, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure. Sure.
I was no Rocky Pisa. He was our number one. He was legit. The guy that sat next to me was named Rocky
Yeah.
Pisa. And he's,
Yeah.
and but he always had like 100,000 in sales a month. And
Wow.
then we had like a staggered commission program. So like if you
Yeah.
hit 30,000 in sales, you'd make this much. And then if you hit
Yeah. You got a
50,000, then your whole
step
commissions went up
increase.
though. So it's like, oh, you get 3% or whatever. And then if you hit this number,
Mm.
then you get 4% on that. And then if you hit this amount, if you hit 100,000, then it all rolls back. You got fucking 10% on everything. It was
Oh
amazing. And
shit.
Rocky hit 100,000 all the time. I'd
Wow.
hit like 50, 60, maybe whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
still doing well.
So
So
consistent. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyways, whatever. I was pretty pissed off. So then in December, they literally fired me. So like
Mm.
January 1st or whatever was like, they were like, I got fired. I forget if it was in the end of December or in the beginning of January. But then apparently I found out that in Massachusetts, if you get fired from a sales job for performance, you're eligible for unemployment. I collected
Oh
unemployment for
yeah.
2 years.
I was just gonna ask, what was this in Florida? Is Florida right to work? Like,
Massachusetts.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's not the kind of place you can do that. South Carolina, they
Oh,
could
what
just
was it?
do that
Yeah.
but
Yep. So yeah,
yeah.
and that was how it was in Massachusetts. So hold on a second, I gotta find this.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Um, but anyways, yeah. So that was fun over there in Massachusetts. I
No
loved it.
kidding.
That was the best
It's
part about
kind of
living in
like
Massachusetts.
a trap that these jobs set for you, though. You get a nice stable income like that, and you do have money in the bank, you do have this freedom, right? But sometimes it kind of just doesn't dawn on you. You feel like you need the job. And if you were to
Yeah.
take a few months, everything's going to fall apart. Your savings will disappear. That's not the way it works, really.
Yeah, no, not really.
I
So
can
that was
I can
cool.
relate. Can relate.
I know. Didn't you like just take a sabbatical kind of thing like a couple years ago?
I did, yeah. So I was working at Boeing, and I worked there, like 11 or 12 years, and had my son, and I got a paternity leave 3 months, and then went back, and I had also taken a promotion, and things weren't working out, and I was like, hey guys, I need to take a leave of absence. So I'd scheduled like a 6-month leave of absence. And kind of in the meantime, I had gotten a call from someone else to go work at Blue Origin. So I went and did that. And it's funny, you also mentioned about the performance as a part of that trap, right? The performance trap. I I was doing really well at Blue, and they were offering everyone on our contract team jobs, and they were like, "Oh man, you did great. You were still onboarding and helping us onboard these new guys." But I didn't tell them I was talking to Boeing again to go back, and I had already mentally checked out. And like, I sent an email like, "I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in," and the next day I got a call like, "You know what? I don't know the regulations. They may have just had to, because missiles are kind of, or missiles, rockets are considered part of like missiles and defense. So because I was going somewhere else, they may have had to fire me, but they let me go the next day. So
So I didn't find out until like years later, but like I had been working actually at Dyson was one of my last big jobs that I
nice.
had back in
Yeah.
2019 for 2 years, so 2017 to 19. And I was a district manager for New England for
Oh,
the sales
wow.
program for Dyson.
Oh yeah.
So I got fired, and my boss didn't tell me until like 2 years later, because like we remained friendly or whatever. But then like I had said something like in a passing conversation and like a checking in conversation. Uh, and I had said like, in reminiscent of like being fired. And he was like, well, what'd you think was going to happen after you told me that you interviewed with Best Buy for that in-home sales
Yeah.
position? And I was like, I thought this
I don't
dude was,
know.
so again, I
You
thought he was
show
my friend.
professional courtesy, maybe,
I thought we were on friendly level. I didn't remember that we were always on boss level with this guy.
Right.
So anyways, I had blamed, and literally like in therapy, because when he fired me, he told me that they didn't like me. He said, they
Oh
really
yeah.
don't like you, is what he
Yeah,
said on the
yeah.
phone the day that he fired
Oh
me.
sure. Yeah.
And honestly, I answered the phone that day and he said, I have to make the call that I didn't want to make. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like literally answered the phone. I said, hello. And he goes, I have to make the call that I didn't want to make. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And he goes, they really don't like you. And I was like, what the fuck?
Okay.
So then a couple of years later, he said it was partially because like I told him that I interviewed with Best Buy, which was one of our clients. So
Right.
Best Buy was one of our clients, and whatever. So anyways, then yeah, so he ended up firing me from Dyson for that, and I didn't realize um that telling him that I was interviewing for that other job, I was really excited. I thought I was really excited. I was like, it was like a step up
Yeah.
ish kind of. I don't know. It felt like one.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
taking these jobs. I feel like all these jobs, you're like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. This
Right.
sounds so cool. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you're like, what the fuck? This is not what I thought
This
it was
is,
going to be.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not as cool as I thought it was going to be. I don't feel cool
It's
still.
always like that. It doesn't matter. I don't think the industry matters, and I don't think it matters if you're like, because I was working at Boeing building airplanes, and then I was like, oh man, we're gonna do this on rockets. It's gonna be even better. Yeah, and it's funny because they offered all these people, back to that little story, before they shithead me and they were offering us all direct spots. All those guys got laid off as soon as they were done with surge support, which was like, I don't know, 3 months later.
Yeah.
Ah, fucking
They plan all this shit. I'm saying. So like
yeah, they
even when
do.
I was
Oh, they
I'm
do.
saying when I was at for Dyson, I didn't really work for Dyson. I worked for a
Yeah,
marketing company. We called it third party labor. Um, but yeah, so honestly, and then being in publishing really helped me write this book, because I found out that a lot of these magazines were fucking bullshit, didn't even do nothing. But then you'd have a few of them in the
right.
office and you're like, but how did they get these? And then they go, oh,
Yeah,
we send them out to like 40,000 people. And I'm like, oh, do we? And they go, oh, well, actually, if you say that it's less than 50,000 people, you don't have to prove it.
yeah. Oh no shit. Oh god. Yeah,
Hilarious. So then people are like, oh, Amber, how many are you have you sold? Thousands. Are you a bestseller? No. What is a bestseller? Define that.
yeah.
Apparently, you have to like
Define
sell
that. What
like
do you mean? I'm the
5,000
New
in the
York
first
Times
weekend, something like
bestseller.
that. Yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, man.
Come on.
But I mean, it's surprisingly easy, bro. You just go on the website,
Yes.
Google it,
Yeah.
ChatGPT it,
Okay.
Google it.
Yeah. There you
Um,
go. And get your step-by-step guide, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been creating guides now. So now I'm gonna write a
Oh,
book
nice.
on, I'm gonna create a course on how to write an audiobook, because I did the audiobook also.
Oh,
And
hell
that one
yeah.
I had to get like a thing called Audacity, and then I had to watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And then they were like,
How to
oh,
get
there's a
your audio
plugin for
set
that.
up and
Yeah. But then also you have to like go in after you record it and you have to like reset all these settings because you go to submit it and it goes, oh, the levels are off for this thing.
yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck does that mean?
God damn it. Yeah. It's funny you say that because right after Daniel Webster, I went and got my first apartment on my own in the city of Buffalo. And I was hanging out with a bunch of DJs. We were throwing like raves and like getting DJs from Canada. I was like, oh man, I'm going to take music business. So I went to this school, Villa Maria. It's like a Catholic, kind of like a community college kind of thing. But, like slightly better, I guess, slightly higher pedigree because you had to pay a little more. It was Catholic. I have no idea. But they had a music business program and they tell you how to record and mix down tracks and stuff. I took one semester of mixology. Oral skills was a class I had to take where like you listen to a song and you had to, okay, did the pitch go up? How many steps? Like it's just the basics. I play guitar. I still can't really listen to songs and play them. I got to look at the tabs. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
It's all good. My daughter wanted to do violin, so I let her do violin. I signed her up for violin lessons privately.
Nice.
This lady came to my house, and then we ended up having to like buy a violin. We ended up getting one off Facebook for like $20. So we still have it, and she quit. I'm teaching myself how to play violin.
Oh, that's awesome.
I used to play the clarinet back in high school, and I was in the band, and
Oh,
I used to
yeah?
compete. Yeah, we came in third place at Hershey Park once,
Nice.
and then we used to
That's
do
awesome.
caroling, and I was in the marching band, and yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I can walk and play the
That's
clarinet
pretty
at the
cool.
same time.
Nice. Very good. Dude, I can hardly walk and chew gum at the same time.
I actually had that thought before I said that. I can walk, chew gum, and play the clarinet at the same time. I think I've probably done that.
Nice.
I've probably done it. Like, spit out your gum. Like, no, it's
Nah,
delicious.
I'll be all right.
Coming to my cheek
Nice.
like a squirrel.
That is
Anyways,
pretty cool.
But yeah, so yeah. I've got, writing it, the author thing is a fun little itch thing, and that's fun. But yeah, so now I want to move on into some like sales funnels and stuff, start making some money. Cause like,
nice.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of books and I was like traveling around to my local bookstores to see if anybody would carry it. And then they were like, oh, well, you need to put it on like this other website. So now I'm learning about all this book publishing.
So you mentioned you use AI in your writing process, creative process, and all that. Have you started using any of the agents, the Claude bot? Have you heard of that?
No, I don't know what that one is yet. So I just just started using Gemini recently.
I don't know if it's similar because I'm not super familiar with Gemini other than it just being another model, right?
So the good thing about Gemini is that it can search the internet because ChatGPT can't really search the internet. Connectivity to Google.
Agentic properties. Claudebot is a thing. It's like a security nightmare, but you can essentially set up like a plain text user of a computer and give it all the same access as you have, and then like prompt it to do shit for you. You should look into it. It's an interesting concept. Most people get around the security issue by using like a Mac Mini.
I don't have any Apple stuff. I've never.
Yeah, me neither. Apple. That's my issue.
I just wanted to go put my podcast onto Apple because you could just RSS that shit. But then I was not able to because it said that I need an Apple ID, and I tried to do that and all this and went through the verification process. And then it said I couldn't do it anyways because I needed like iOS 12 and then I literally went to my friend's house and he has a giant Apple computer because he works for Amazon as like a software engineer.
Okay.
And then it said the same error. But it was like, I think it was because I was using a Gmail account instead of like a legit Apple account. I have no idea. So I got like,
maybe
I got halted. I don't know. Fucking hate Apple. If anybody's listening and they love Apple, F you.
I'm not a fan. That's all I have though. I want to try this thing out, but I only have PC hardware and I just don't know if Windows is secure enough. Yeah, to do a Claude bot, like an agent setup. and just,
What would it do?
tell
What
it
could it
to,
do?
go find me good trades. Go find me, like, scour all this all day long, and
I'll tell
then
you, I
3:30,
used ChatGPT
let me
once to
know.
buy stock. Did I ever tell you that? I used ChatGPT
No.
once to buy stock.
Uh-uh.
So like 3 years ago, it was years ago, a couple years ago,
Okay.
I used ChatGPT to buy stock. I ended up buying this one called, and it recommended like, it was recommending like healthcare and all these other ones, but I wanted
Okay.
to buy an AI one and it recommended Path something
Yeah,
and then
UiPath.
something, yeah, and then something else, CAI or something like that.
Hmm.
But anyway, now I can't remember what, but
Oh,
I bought one.
C3AI. Ugh,
C3AI. I
those are
bought that.
gross. Yeah,
But anyways,
what did you do good on it?
I don't know
So
what
it, I
even the
mean,
product
it
is,
had its
but
moment.
I got like 20 something 5% when, and then I
Nice.
decided to sell it. We sold it.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
so, but
Good. You
that was
probably
kind
got
of
out in
cool.
time.
That was
Hell
cool.
yeah.
But it was
Good.
crazy because it recommended that one plus the other one called Path, and then Path had like not gone up like more than 5% or something or whatever.
Right.
But both
Yeah, I
of them
think
were
they're
up
about the same. Yeah,
at
they're
least.
up. Yeah, Path. So Path is good. Path is similar to like what I was just talking about with the Claude bot thing, but it's not open source and it's like a more complicated sales model. Claude is like free. Claude might eat their lunch, and it's CLA, like lobster claws. The whole thing was written with Claude, like from Google or whatever, from Anthropic. But yeah, they ripped it off by calling it CLA, comma D Claude bot. Like,
Okay.
getting Claude. But anyway, yeah, look it up, man. That's super interesting. Pretty relatively new, just a few weeks old, 3-4 weeks old. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Because I think I've heard of another one called Claude that it looks like
Yeah.
like
Yep.
the name. Is it different?
Yep. Yeah, it is different. Yep. There's
Oh,
like
okay.
Claude Sonnet for like the LLM. Claude Code is their coding thing, and then the Claude Code was used by some dude, some heavily autistic guy, that just made his fortune and fame on GitHub writing and shipping code. Just wrote this whole thing, dude. It's crazy. It's
Mm.
yeah, it's another one of those little like step change things where now that anything you can do on a computer, you can now essentially create a model and set that objective for it, and it can go and do it. But you are taking your accounts and your accesses into your own damn hands at this point. It's like that new. But yeah. So
Crazy.
yep. Do you have a hard
I'll go
out
check it out.
10:30? You gotta pack it in.
I knew like to like 10:40 would be okay, but yeah, that's okay.
That's cool. Close it out. All right, Amber.
Sorry, I hope I
Thanks
didn't go off
for.
on too many tangents for you.
No, I think fine. I mean, Jesus Christ, if people watch half of this, it'll be great for my channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get them over here. I'll share it.
All right. Cool. Good seeing you again. Good chatting.
Good to see you.
Take it easy.
Catch up soon.
For sure. Have a good one.
Bye.